Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, the 5th day of August, 2024. Well, let's see. 5 denotes change, also protection. Could also be freedom versus restriction, variety, innovation. But generally speaking, when I see the number 5, I think something's changed or something's changing. Something's changing in our lives in a profound way here. with Thurzaz, it's the third rune of the Elder Futhark. It means the thorn. It's Thor's hammer. It's what opposes you. It can be about healing and strength and protection. It can be giants. It can be chaos. It can be it can signal impulsive behavior. And again, if you're behaving impulsively, that does oppose you, but it's yourself getting in the way of that. But basically, the key word for it is thorn. It kind of looks like a little rose thorn there on a branch. It's a fire element. Again, defense, new beginnings, what opposes you, impulsivity. So see that from a higher perspective here and realize the need to focus maybe, or to defend yourself against something. Defend yourself against what the ego can do, either on your own or from someone else. Let's see. We have Caput Draconis for the Geomancy rune. That's going to talk about the future or new beginnings. It's the north node of the moon or the head of the dragon versus the tail of the dragon, which is kata. That would be kata. That would be the past or karma. Influencing the present, but this would be the head of the dragon with Caput Draconis, and that's going to be new beginnings on the threshold of something new. And with respect to Thurzaz, it also means new beginnings as well, so they share that, but there could be some element there of defending against something coming in at you as well. If that's the case, because that keeps coming into my head here. So we'll see what the cards have to say, though. This could simply be about new beginnings and staying on track and not letting in impulsivity get you off track and scatter that focus when you're starting something new today. But let's just see what the cards have to say for that and get a little bit more details. So we know which way to go. Thurzaz is just a really complex rune, and it takes you in a bunch of different directions with it, but at the same time, if you're thinking about it in terms of what opposes you, maybe you're in a situation today where you're having to say you're at work and you're in a meeting and everyone's trying to decide, okay, which opportunity do we take, and you think that one is the best and maybe a couple other people disagree or whatever. Each one wants to do something else, and so there could be that type of what opposes you, and so how you present your ideas may be what gets you the accolades from the boss versus the others, like, oh, we'll choose your idea. It could be something like that. Here we have the Emperor, which is card 4 from the Major Arcana. We have the 9 of Cups and the Page of Wands. I think I'm going to start with you know what? I'm gonna do like I did. Was it on? Yeah, it was on Thursday of last week. The reading I had the Magician and then the Page of Swords and the 6 of Pentacles, and I told everybody how I'm gonna do that whenever I have especially one card from the Major Arcana. I'm gonna put it up when I do the write up on the blog over at Stepping Aside. I'm going to put it higher in the picture I take of the reading. Because I always take a picture of it and then put it on there so everyone knows what it is. But I'm going to have that a little higher up to show the soul archetype nature of the Major Arcana card in the reading. And I'm going to start with the Emperor first. Actually, let's stop for a second. And where's my calculator here? Let's do the numerology really quickly. Again, Thurzaz, I need to clear that first. Thurzaz was 3. That's the third rune, so we'll call that 3. The page doesn't have a number. We've got 4 with the Emperor, plus 9 with the 9 of Cups. So we have 16, 1 and 6 is 7. So let me write that down here. It's on the little post-it note I have for the readings. I keep track of what I do here, so I can refer back if necessary. Especially if we, throughout the week, we've got something on Monday and something on Thursday where they sort of seem to be dovetailing together. That could mean you're dealing with the same kind of issue throughout the week. So I like to just have that handy. Anyway, let's talk about the Emperor. The Emperor is the father aspect. He's the consort of the Empress. He comes after the Empress. You have the Fool the soul taking the leap of faith into form, carrying with it all of the intentions that they have. In other words, the theme that the Fool or the soul is going to embrace and work through while in physical form, in physical reality. And then you have the magician that is the aspect of the soul that creates the body and the world and the environment around him. And then you have the high priestess who is creating the subconscious realm for the soul to connect to the physical reality. In other words, the higher self connecting with the physical reality. Then you have the Empress who gives birth to creation. From there, she takes a consort who is the Emperor. Now you can look at that in terms of the Empress and Emperor give birth to creation, but that's not how it's structured. The Emperor comes after, and the Emperor is essentially the father aspect. You're talking masculine energy, pragmatism, stability, authority, order, ambition, discipline, reason. You see a lot of strength behind him. You see what appears to be mountains behind him. He's in a very strong looking concrete or stone throne. You see the ram's heads. It's really a card of Aries. And so you're looking at a lot of independence. He's got a red drape around him, which is very fire element oriented, very initiative, very action oriented. You also see him in battle attire. You can see that down there. The white beard and the white hair depict an older man that's wise. But if he's ill-dignified, then watch out. He's not going to be anybody you're going to want to deal with. He can probably get pretty authoritative if he needs to or feels he needs to. And again, if he's out of balance, that could not be good for the kingdom, essentially. And so when you're embracing the authority within today, you're going to do it from a place of wisdom. And you're going to do it from a place of higher awareness versus one that is more ego-driven, okay? Page of Wands comes in. And the Page of Wands, again, this is the fire element. Here you see he's on a spiritual quest because you see the 3 pyramids from the Holy Land there, the 3 pyramids of Giza. He's holding a staff or a pole with life still growing from it. You see the little feather here that you see also in the cap of the Fool. The pages in the court, there's 3 aspects of tarot if you're new to tarot. There's the minor arcana, which is ace through 10. There's the major arcana, which is this particular card is one of those. Those are the soul archetype cards with the overall things that the soul goes through, that they learn, that they experience. And then the minor arcana would be the details of that. But then you have this outlier called the court. And it begins either with the page or princess, depending upon the deck, and then the knight or the prince, depending on the deck, and then the queen, and then the king. Now, in some hermetic decks, the king might be called the knight, but otherwise it's the king. Which I know gets a little bit confusing. You just have to know which deck you're working with, and then you'll see, okay, the knight is really the king, if you're going with the Rider-Waite and those type of decks. But anyhow, you have here, a lot of the time you'll see the little salamander here, which is fire element, elemental. And normally with the king, now if you'll see like the King of Wands, you'll see the salamander grabbing its tail in complete Ouroboros fashion. But here that's not happening yet. The page is considered the student and the most youthful person in the court, and has the same level of undeveloped potential you see with this little feather here as the Fool does. Because with the Fool, you're talking about undeveloped potential. Does not know yet which gender it will be before it takes the leap, or well, it's probably decided, but it's still not decided at that stage of development there before they take the soul takes the leap into form. So you still have that feather there of possibility. Here you see lots of oranges, you see the blue sky. And so he's all about messages, new opportunities, transformation. He's a seeker, but he's a seeker of opportunity. With wands, you are talking about opportunity. You're talking about motivation and initiation, and a very active principle with the fire element, because the wands represents the fire element. Whereas cups here represents the water element and our emotions. But here we have, if we take our whole idea here of new opportunities with both new beginnings with both Thurisaz and Caput Draconis, then you come next to the page of wands. Well, now he's showing people what his new opportunities are that he's going to embark upon. And you can't ignore the spiritual aspect of that with the three pyramids here. So there could be some new opportunity that he has, maybe to become a teacher of spiritual principles, maybe, or of something metaphysical, or something that at least acknowledges that we are all in this collective together, and that we're all part of the same collective consciousness, if you will, of the Creator. And so there has to be some kind of spiritual component here, though. You have the whole idea of the Knights Templar on the journey to the Holy Land, that whole endeavor when they took Robert the Bruce's heart to the Holy Land, to Jerusalem, after he died. It's that whole spiritual quest or spiritual journey. And with the page, this is just starting out. The page itself is a new beginning, if you will. And so you see an alignment then with the new beginning aspect of Thurisaz, and approaching new opportunities with in a very active way, instead of one that might get scattered. You're very focused. He's very focused on looking at that staff or the new opportunity that he's got before him, to display that for others to see. And then we come to the end of things with the 9. 9 is about endings and completion. It's also about spirituality and generosity and fulfillment. And here we have this jolly fellow there sitting on a wood bench. He's got his arms crossed, but not in terms of defense. It's because this is actually a defensive posture, especially if you cross your legs too. If you put one leg over the other, then if you're talking to somebody, they're defensive. That's a position of defense typically in terms of body language. But here you have a blue drape behind him. It's sort of curved there on a curved wall. And you have the 9 chalices sitting on top of that. And he's extremely happy. He's fulfilled. That things have come to their conclusion, and he's happy about it. So what this reading is suggesting is if you align Thurisaz with the Emperor, then you're looking at a tremendous amount of impulse control here today, so that you don't get too excited about the opportunities in front of you, and maybe you impulsively take one that really isn't the one for you. Instead, do your due diligence, make sure you understand what it's all about. Choose the one you really want to take and that is probably going to give you the best outcome. And when you do that, there's your new beginnings with both Thurisaz and Caput Draconis. From there, that reinforces with the Page of Wands, where you're out there. There's some spiritual component to it. Even if it's only that you're aware that there's more involved here than just you. That would be a way of being spiritual about something, that the decisions that you make have an impact on other people. And so does the opportunity you choose. It could have an impact on your family. You want to make sure that you're thinking about more than just yourself. So that would be less ego and more spirit involved in that. So it could be something as simple as that. But in the end, whatever you've chosen to do, the new opportunity you've taken, that new beginning, looks like it's going to turn out, and it's going to bring some happiness and fulfillment and joy to your family and to you as well. So kind of an easy one for Monday. I don't think we need another card or anything, but it just looks like, with the new beginnings, as long as you use your own inner authority to be pragmatic and reasonable and to do your due diligence, to look at all sides of the equation. Before you make that decision, think about others in the process. Think about how it's going to impact your spouse or your children, your family, your ability to pay your bills. And it might be something where you don't quit your job before you have another one. Sometimes you don't have a choice in that, but if you do, then you of course want to take the more pragmatic way of doing things. And I think that the Emperor is just saying that there's more at stake here than just simply what you want to do. With the Emperor, it implies there's other people that are going to be impacted by your decision, and so you want to make sure that whatever you do is going to work out for everyone concerned. And not put undue burden on yourself or your family or your ability to make ends meet, that kind of thing maybe. And then when you're done, all is said and done, then and you're in it and it's working well for you, then you achieve the happiness you're looking for. Turns out, in other words, it turns out to be a positive choice that you've made. So see how this resonates between now and Thursday when we meet again. And if it's not yet there for you, maybe something will come up tomorrow that you look back on this and say, oh, okay, that's something new, and I need to really do my due diligence before making a decision about it to make sure it's really going to be a positive force in my life, or whether it's going to be a level of risk that maybe isn't worth taking at this time. So anyhow, that's it. The 7 numerology, is it a 7 numerology we decided? Yeah, it was a 7 numerology for the reading. That also fits doing your due diligence, letting the scale, this is the 7. I finally stuck it to my computer here, but this is the depiction of the 7. It looks like a scale, letting everything settle out so that you can really understand what you're looking at to make the best decision for you. And possibly for your family. Again, the Emperor suggests that there's other people that can be impacted, and he's the one in charge making that decision, and it needs to be something that's going to essentially do well for the kingdom instead of, squander all the kingdom's money, basically, and the ability for the kingdom to survive is that kind of feeling I get out of that. So in any event, it sounds like a positive way to start the week. And again, the 7 numerology of the reading, 5 for today is change. So obviously this is going to be a change in your life, but again, you need to protect whatever your foundation is. If it's your family, your home, all of that, your financial security, you need to be able to protect that as well. When you're making the decision you need to make. And you can't do that by making it impulsively, letting the impulsive side be what opposes you here with Thursaz today. So I guess that's it. A short one for Monday. Thanks a lot for watching. If you haven't yet click subscribe, I'd love you to do that. And give it a like if you want to. If you don't, then you don't have to. It's all right. I don't know. The Google people or the YouTube people like this, like us to say this, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea. Part of some algorithm. I don't know. I just read the cards and the runes. I don't really care about that stuff. But anyway, check out the blog over at Stepping Aside. That web address there is imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click on more below the video and a window will open up, and it's right there at the top. If you scroll down to the bottom, all the places I am on social media and the other places I write, I publish my work from the blog over on a few other places, Patreon, Substack, and Medium. If you happen to read those and you do that all the time, then I'm over there as well. On Substack, it's called Witch Notes. It's actually a title of a book I wrote, a little correspondence book. I don't think I have it in here. If I do, it's in that stack up there. I know it's out by my chair in the living room, but because I was referring to it the other day, it's just easier than getting into the grimoire, which is really, it's hard to read and in the dark, and it's just easier. In fact, I can pull it up on my iPad, and it's really easy to see it then. But anyway, that's where that came from. I also did a little series for a while on the blog called Witch Notes, and it was just stuff I wanted to talk about. But then I called the book that, so now it's that. But anyway, I decided to have some continuity and call this. They so you got to add a title to your Substack. I'm like, oh geez, can it just be my name? you know, no. And so I did that. That's why it's called that. But anyway. If you like reading stuff over there, I post over on those sites as well. So otherwise, do check out the blog. I think I like it. I think it's pretty cool. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, herbalism and magic and stuff like that, then and maybe a rant or two, because sometimes I get irritated about things that are going on in the world and I might say something. But anyway, go check out Stepping Aside. I'd love you to do that too. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and come back again on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.